Welcome to the Golden Nuggets of Real Estate Investing, a podcast dedicated to helping you achieve financial freedom through real estate. We'll be discussing the most important lessons, or better known as the Golden Nuggets of Real Estate Investing, entrepreneurship, and personal finance with new and experienced investors to help you get into real estate investing or scale up your portfolio. So make sure to tune in. What's going on, everybody? It's Ross Nedaee, host of the Golden Nuggets podcast. Welcome to episode 1. I got a fantastic show for you today. Today, I'll be telling you all about this podcast. It'll be all things real estate, entrepreneurship, personal finance, and achieving financial freedom. We're going to have some great guests come on and share their real estate journey and how it has impacted their lives. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself for those that don't already know me. I'm a real estate investor and a real estate agent here in Toronto, and I've been investing in real estate since 2013. Real estate has always been a passion of mine. I've always been fascinated by buildings and different architects, and it's partly due to the influence of my dad, who is a civil engineer. Like many, I completed high school and went on to university to get my Bachelor of Commerce degree, but was never truly taught financial literacy. Sure, I took some accounting and finance courses, but I never understood how money really works and how to make money work for me. I was never the kid who blew all his money on cars and parties and always saved his money, which ultimately led me to graduating debt-free. Now looking back, I wish I did not pay off all my student loans and instead used that $30,000 to buy a couple of properties back in 2013. Today, they would have almost quadrupled their value. Now that is the power of real estate and leveraging money wisely. After graduating, I remember my first job making $40,000 a year, and I was so happy I was going to climb the corporate ladder and one day become the CEO. After a few years, I realized just working a full-time corporate job alone will never get me to where I want to be, nor will I be able to exit the rat race and retire early, as retiring at 65 is definitely not an option for me. Having a full-time corporate job definitely has its own perks and benefits, but if you have bigger dreams and aspirations, you need to have multiple sources of income. And most importantly, you need to have passive income. You need to be able to make money while you sleep, which you can obtain very easily through real estate investing. After a few career path changes, I discovered sales and I've never looked back. It's the most rewarding career for me and my personality, so I decided why not combine sales with real estate and got my realtor license, which was a complete game changer for me. After learning about different markets, personal finance, mortgage lending, and helping clients purchase properties, I had a complete shift of mindset. And folks, mindset is everything. You do not need to have a silver spoon in your mouth to become a millionaire. All you need to do is change your limiting beliefs. I started reading, watching YouTube videos, and listened to real estate podcasts such as this, and started connecting with like-minded people. Your network is truly your net worth. It is absolutely critical to surround yourself with folks who are subject matter experts, and remember, always be the dumbest person in the room. Don't be afraid to ask questions, reach out to people, or attend networking events. You'll soon find that the real estate investment community is incredibly welcoming. Remember, you truly are the average of the 5 people you know. So be very selective of your surroundings if you want to be successful in life. Fast forward a few years, I now currently have a portfolio of 5 properties using the BRRRR method. Buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat. And I'm just getting started. My goal with this podcast is to connect with as many fellow investors and share the golden nuggets of their success as well as failures. Remember, failure is just part of the process. You cannot have success without failure. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, and listen to my podcast as I'll be sharing lots of great content to help you succeed in your real estate investment journey and achieve financial freedom. Now, without further ado, let's tackle some of the fundamental terms that you will hear throughout this podcast. I'm sure many of you have heard the terms gross income and net operating income, and you're probably wondering what is the difference. So let's take a look. Gross income is essentially what you're expected to make every single month. So let's say you have a rental unit that you're renting for $1,500 a month. $1,500 a month, which equals to $18,000 annually. This will be your gross income. What gross income does not take into account is the expenses. So what net operating income, on the other hand, does is it does include that. So to get your net operating income, also known as NOI, is you take the monthly income and subtract it by the expenses. So in this case, let's say your utilities per month are $200 a month. Let's say your insurance is $100 a month. And let's say your property taxes are also $100 a month. So to get your net operating income, what you do is you take your gross income, in this case, which is $1,500 a month, subtracted by the expenses. So $200 for utilities, $100 for insurance, and another $100 for property taxes equals $1,100 a month. Now I'm sure you're also wondering, what about the mortgage expense or lender fees? Net operating income unfortunately does not take that into account. It assumes that the house is essentially paid off and is bought in cash, which in a lot of instances it's not true. A lot of us can't afford to buy the property outright, unfortunately. So when we take in mortgage and other lending expenses into account, we essentially get to our cash flow. So what we need to do in this case is, let's just say you have a monthly mortgage on the property of $600 a month. Now to get our cash flow, what we need to do is we need to take that $1,100 a month, which is our net operating income, minus the mortgage payment, which in this case is $600 a month, which will then leave us with $500 a month cash flow. Now in this case, if you're one of the lucky ones and you have the property purchased outright, guess what? Your cash flow is not going to be $500, it's actually going to be $1,100 a month. Now, in order to be successful, positive cash flow is impeccable to your business. Remember, cash flow is king. Think of it this way. A positive cash flow is a profit that you make monthly. When this figure is negative, you're paying out of pocket for the property, which is a monthly loss for you. Now, even with negative cash flow, you could still technically be profitable in certain cases when taking into account the mortgage paydown and high appreciation into factor, but we're not getting to that for today. Another term that's important to know is the capitalization rate, also known as the cap rate. So cap rates indicate the rate of return that is expected to be generated on a real estate investment property, which is expressed as a percentage. Now, cap rates or capitalization rates are determined by dividing your net operating income, your annual net operating income, by the property asset value and multiply by 100. So in our earlier example, we determined that our monthly net operating income was $1,100 a month. So what we need to do is we need to multiply that by 12 to get our annual net operating income, which in this case is $13,200 annually. Now in this example, let's pretend that the property asset value is $200,000. So what we need to do in this case is divide 13,200, which is our net operating income annually, by 200,000, and then multiply that by 100, which in this case will be 6.6%. So what this means is that you'll be expecting a return of 6.6% annually when comparing your purchase price and your net operating income. A good healthy cap rate for me in my markets are anything between 5 to 7%. Now this number can be completely different for you depending on which market you invest in. So definitely choose wisely. Last but not least, I want to talk to you about debt coverage ratio, also known as DCR. So DCR is a very important indicator as it measures your ability to pay your property's monthly mortgage payments from the cash generated from renting the property. Bankers and lenders use this ratio as a guide to help them understand whether the property will generate enough cash to pay rental expenses and whether you will have enough left over to pay them back on the money you borrowed. So DCR is calculated by dividing your annual net operating income by your annual debt service. So in our earlier example, we determined that our annual net operating income is $13,200 annually, and that our mortgage payment was $600 a month. To get our annual, easy stuff, you multiply that by 12, which equals to $7,200 annually. So to get your debt coverage ratio, simply divide 13,200 by 7,200, which equals to 1.83. So what this means is that for every $1 debt service payment, you have a net operating income of 1.83 to service that debt. This is a very important indicator, as the higher the DCR, the greater the likelihood the loan will be approved. I know this may be a lot of information to take in, but as we progress, these will become second nature to you. In the meantime, feel free to rewind and re-listen as much as you need. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. The kindest thing that you could do is share this podcast across all social media to help as many people as possible. Your sharing of this content means everything. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next episode. Until next time, let's get it.